So you're a skin clinic, you want to grow, you want to increase your client base, you want to have predictability and consistency in the clinic to the point where your revenue goes from $20, $30, $40,000 a month upwards to 80, 100K, 150, 200 plus. This video will consist of the number one thing to do with your acquisition system. I speak to hundreds of clinics every single week. You might have spoken before, you might have seen my face in the ads, but the number one thing I hear and the number one thing that most people say is my ads, they attract the wrong kind of people. I get tire kickers, discount chasers, one-offs, the wrong kind of clients at the end of the day. So this video is solely made to avoid that whole process. I'm going to share my screen in a sec and take you through numerous slides that are targeted and focused solely on how you can essentially improve your ads to get the right kind of people in, customers that are spending, $3,000 packages, $6,000, $10,000 programs that are built out for 8 to 16 weeks. Now, a lot of you will hear this and your mind will instantly send triggers thinking that's impossible, that doesn't work. For where your clinic's at right now, it is impossible and it doesn't work because you're attracting the wrong type of clients. If you attract in, a $99 client, the expectation for them is they're going to buy something that's worth $99, right? Whereas in reality, you're trying to sell them something it's not meeting, right? It's too differentiated. So expectation versus reality is a massive thing. But in saying that, people that come in from the ads need to expect and need to think, when I come in, this is what I'm going to get. And then you give them that. It starts right off the bat. Whereas what you're selling them, what you're targeting, the intro offer, the ads itself, what they're coming in for is the most crucial part to this whole process. So I'm going to share my screen now and run you through it. Okay, so stop selling treatments in your ads. Do this instead. Now, this all comes down to what is actually being presented, shown to your ideal client, shown to the people that are viewing the ads. What are they actually seeing? A lot of the times, clinics sell direct treatments. They run discounts, packages, programs, Mother's Day, all of this crap, right? But that attracts the wrong type of client. If you run a discount, you're going to attract a client at price shop. They're coming in for a discount. It's going to be very hard to get someone in for a discount, then get them to rebuy at full price. So you have to think of that, take that into consideration. But if you're running treatments in your ads, you're essentially attracting the wrong type of client altogether. You have to understand there is something called 5 stages, right? So there's 5 stages for every market awareness, and this is solely why the treatment-based ads don't work. So you have to think if you're running ads specifically on Meta or Instagram, so that's Instagram, Facebook, people that are seeing the ads, they're not going on Instagram or Facebook to buy something. The ads are just there in the first place. Most people flick off as soon as they see an ad. Your ad has to blend in. But in terms of 5 stages of market awareness, this takes into account different things. If you're selling treatments in your ads, you're essentially assuming that everyone that views your ad is product aware, solution aware, most aware, right? That is not the case, especially within your area. People don't have a lot of education around the skin side. They don't have much education on machinery. So when you're selling $100 or $200 skin data, whatever it is, they don't even know what that is in the first place. So you have to think and just assume when first starting out for the first couple of months, everyone you're running your ads to are unaware. When you take this mindset on, you're not going to be selling someone a treatment that is unaware of the treatment. Would it make sense? They might not know it's for them when it is for them. They might not know they need it when they do need it, and they might not care about it, which 99% of people don't care about it. Have to understand, people do not buy treatments, they don't buy services, they don't buy product, they buy a solution to their problem. So by taking that understanding and perspective on, you have to advertise based off where people are in this, 5-stage of market awareness and what it's actually going to do for them. So we usually tend to advise, and for a lot of our clinics, we operate in this second bubble, problem aware. Most people know their problems, right? That is all people care about, and we usually recommend advertise as if you're in this focus second stage. So you go problem aware, what problems they're experiencing, fine lines, acne, skin laxity, hyperpigmentation. They're all the good stuff that you want to target in your ads directly, right? Stuff people can actually relate to, associate with. So that should be a hyper focus right there. If you're advertising based on products or most aware or solution aware and selling treatments and services, it doesn't attract the right type of client. So understand this, try to stay within problem aware, because that's when people see the ads, they see something that they have and they think, shit, like this is for me, right? I relate to this. I'm now interested and intrigued. That's the first stage or the first part to this. Why treatment ads fail specifically, we'll take into account Sarah and Rachel. So Sarah, for example, she saw your ad. You're a clinic that runs ads, but in your ads, you sell treatments, you sell services, you sell discounts, products, offers, whatever it is. Now she's coming in for that treatment. In comparison to Rachel, she saw an ad run by a clinic, ad focused on problems, outcomes to their audience, and now she's coming in because she has a problem. There is always 2 types of customers customers, not 3, not 1, not 5, not 4, 2. One customer comes in because they want a treatment or a service. The second customer comes in because they have a problem. Who do you think we want to target in that situation? Do we want to target someone that's coming in for a treatment, or do we want to target someone that's coming in for a problem? If you said Rachel, you're correct. Let me tell you why. Rachel's coming in because she has a problem. She's more inclined to go on a skin journey, be a long-term value client, higher quality, listen to recommendations, listen to what the skin therapist or the expert is telling her to do, in comparison to Sarah that thinks she knows best. She's coming in because she already knows about the treatment. Her friend told her she wants that. Very different selling points. When Sarah comes in for a treatment, she's coming in for that one particular treatment from the ad. That's not to say she's going to rebook again, which she probably won't. It's not to say that she's coming off the back of a discount, so she's not going to book again because the next time it won't be a discount. Whereas Rachel, she's coming in because she has a problem. She wants to fix it. She's there to listen to recommendations, whether it's an 8-week program or a 16-week program or a maintenance membership 52 weeks, right? So they're your biggest differences. Easiest way to kind of understand this situation is think about you're going to a doctor. For example, when you go to a doctor, the doctors don't automatically say when you book in, what would you like to buy before you come in? Do you want to buy this medication or this antibiotic? Like, they don't do that. And there's a reason for they don't do that, because it's just not going to work, right? You're going to get someone to buy something that they don't necessarily need. You don't go into the doctor and say, doctor, I don't care what you have to say. Just give me this medication and this and this. No one does that, right? All you do is say, doctor, I have these problems. What can you do to fix it? And that's the difference between Sarah and Rachel in this example. So you have to understand what it is you're selling in the ads. When you sell treatments, you attract one-off, discount chasers, price shoppers, people that compare the price. And one thing to mention is when you sell a treatment, the only difference between yourself and all of your competitors is price. It might be very different. There might be massive differences, but from a customer's perspective, that's all they notice, price. Whereas when you sell problems, outcomes, journeys, you attract people that are coming in because you're coming in and positioning yourself as a partner in skin health. So this is literally all to do with the front end of your whole market, the ads, how you frame yourself, how you come across to people, what you're selling is the most important part. Now, you need to understand your ICP to do everything I've just mentioned. And from a client perspective, you have to think clients don't want problems. Clients don't want products or services or treatments. They don't care about it. They don't care that you have the best clinic or the best machinery. They do not care. People are selfish. People only want to fix what problems they have and how they can get to their outcome. Those two things is what people want, right? Now, once you take that into consideration and understand from a client perspective how they think, behave, act, you can then start to understand your ICP and then build everything off the back of that targeted towards that person. So that's your ads, your funnel, your landing pages, your offer, all of that stuff comes in relation to this. So understanding your ICP is the most crucial part to this whole process, because you're not going to run ads and attract people that you can't even service in the first place. You're not also going to run ads and attract the wrong kind of people who, they're lower quality clients. So if you're attracting or you're running ads targeted, say this is Rachel, for example, from this example here, and in your ads, you're saying, if you have fine lines, you tried everything, you don't know what works or fixes, you're going to attract a lot of people that are coming off the back of that. They're then going to get taken to essentially a landing page, which I'll get to in a sec. But on that landing page, it will have your offer. And when I say offer, I don't mean discount. I don't mean any of that. I mean solely what it is you're bringing people into, what value do you offer, and how you can help people. And then they're going to come in that way, rather than just selling treatments in your ads directly to your booking page, whether it's Fresher, Timely, Forest, whatever it is. And then you assuming they're going to buy there, right? So to understand this, people want stuff in life. Everyone wants stuff. They're hyperactive buyers, they're emotional buyers, blah, 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 right? You are trying to give people, and this is solely based on your perspective, the way you think is, I'm going to give everyone what they want so I can get the most amount of clients. But it's the wrong way to think, right? It really is. You have to give people what they need so that they can get what they want. If you give everyone what they want, they'll never get what they need. You're the expert in this field. Your recommendations are the most crucial to this whole process for when someone comes in. And it's not only acquisition that you have to think about, you have to think about retention. So how long people are actually going to stay for certain periods of time. And that all comes down to who you are attracting in the ads. Won't go into it again, but there's a framework for this whole process. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but the three main steps you should just really think about is understanding who your ICP is, know everything about this person. I'm not talking about, like what they like and all this. I'm talking literally figure out what their kids' names are, right? We're talking to a specific group, specific age, specific lifestyle, specific way of thinking, specific problems. Everything needs to be targeted. If you target everyone, you get no one. I know your clinic probably does a million different services and you want to to get people in for this, but you need to think of it from a broader sense of how you can attract a bunch of people into a diagnostic or a reset, or, you know, something that is like a consult where you recommend best next offer for a plan, a long-term plan, instead of just selling the treatments. So once you figure out who your ICP is, who you can help, service, all of that stuff, you then build out an intro offer targeted towards that person. With a lot of clinics, we built out skin resets, skin diagnostics, cosmetic assessments, everything to do with bringing people in because they have a problem and listening to a recommendation off the back of a diagnostic session that recommends a program taken from problem to goal. You do not want people coming in thinking, I'm getting this today, they're doing this treatment for me. It is going to be very hard to sell them onto something else, for one. But secondly, your LTV, which is lifetime value, will not be high because they'll come in for that treatment and that only. If you can bring in and build a very solid intro offer based on long-term, how the structured process will work, one-on-one expert consultation. Second thing will be a 16-week program built out, then, you know, a bonus that goes over blah, blah, blah. And third thing will be high volume of video ads, not photo ads, video ads targeted at your ICP that brings them into that offer. The ad should be focused on your ICP's problem, goals that they want, and those things only. Do not sell services, treatments. This is how we're increasing quality of clients, the value, like the high quality to come through the door, rather than just getting treatments, one-offs, discount chasers. This is where it is right here. Video ads outperform photo ads on the front end when you're targeting people that, you know, when you're top of funnel and middle of funnel. Bottom of funnel, you can start running photo ads for your offer once they see you so frequently. But for now, your top of funnel should be focused on video ads, people knowing who the owner is. People buy from people. They don't buy treatments. They don't buy companies. They don't buy from products. They buy from people, right? So they have to know, like, and trust the clinic to inquire, book in, all of that stuff. Video ads do that for you. So getting the owner speaking, getting your staff speaking, people start getting used to them, then they'll book in with that person. But it needs to convey everything about your ICP so they stop and actually watch the video and then come into an offer that is targeted, that can help them, and it's valuable for them to come in to go from their problem to their goal. If you can do all those things, these are the difference between the main impacts on, I guess, clinics. So clinics that sell treatments, speak to a lot of franchises as well, and franchises are known for selling treatments, getting people in and out quick, right? So it's very hard to retain them. Your revenue is very inconsistent. Your client base is literally solely reliant each month and each week on new, and getting people in off the back of discounts. When you sell treatments, you have to run discounts. It's just the way the world works. If you're selling treatments, literally, you're going to get people that come in for it, they do a consult, and they think about it, I need to speak to this person. You're going to attract the wrong type of clients. The person that sells outcomes, which is clinic 2, is where the revenue increases the most. And we've seen this across a lot of different clinics that have increased their revenue by like 30K in 1 month. And the sole purpose for this is because we're attracting people that are coming in, they're super high quality, and they're buying packages that are worth 2 to 5K upfront. Some go on membership plans, whatever, but in contracted revenue, or revenue as a total generated from that person, can significantly increase in comparison to when you're selling treatment. You can position yourself as a long-term skin partner in health, helping a person go from problem to goal, packages, programs, memberships, all of that stuff's coming in. And this is solely off the back of selling problems, outcomes in your ad. That is where the first thing comes down to, and bringing them in to a core offer. You cannot sell treatments in your ads and then sell a program when they come into the clinic. I mean, you could do it for a couple outliers, but for the sole part, 90% of people will not expect that and they won't do it. They won't go for it. So your ads is the front end. It's where everything starts off and originates for the client journey to come into the clinic and actually buy something. So you need to make sure in your ads, you're selling off the back of problems, outcomes. You don't even need to mention treatments. You don't. You just need to mention problems you solely help people with, speak a little bit about it, education, and the outcome you help people achieve. Then you have your offer, which is the second level to it, what they're coming into. Then your third thing is your sales process. So what they're buying on the day, which is the program pack. All right. Now, if you can do all of that stuff, you're in a very, not only profitable position, but a very good position to grow your revenue, start getting in new staff, which I know a lot of clinics want to do, but actually grow the clinic with a very high quality team, take yourself out day to day. That is the only way you can do that. If you cannot do those, which most clinics should be able to do this, it is a very simple task. It's just, instead of running ads targeted at treatments, it's ads running, targeted towards an actual person. Your clinic will be a lot more better off than where it probably is right now. So say if you are looking to improve your ads, just focus on those two things, and that will be a wrap for this presentation. Now, I hope some of what I went over was valuable. It is a video targeted solely at the ad side of things. So essentially how you can attract the right type of clients, increase your revenue, increase the amount of client base you currently have, active clients, retention long-term, which all originates and comes down to what ad you're actually running right from the start. So instead of running treatments, run actual outcomes. Instead of running, trying to get people in for what you want to service, run ads targeted at people's problems and outcomes and how they can benefit from your service once they come into your offer. So there's different ways to think about it. It is a very slight change just in terms of what you're saying in the the ads, how you're selling it, how you position yourself, but it changes everything. This is why ads are crucial, and it's crucial that you get your ads right to attract the right type of client in. All right. Now, I'd say a lot of in this video works well. You can do it yourself, but what works better is actually having someone that understands the process and does it for a stack of clinics. Now, we do it for literally hundreds of clinics around Australia, US, and the UK. It's a big focus. All we work with skin clinics, cosmetic clinics, body contouring clinics. Now, if it is something you want to have a chat about, you want to speak about where your clinic's at, do an audit, go through what's working, what's not working, problems, goals, where it's at, any of that stuff, more than happy to have a chat. In my YouTube thing, in the little intro description section, there will be a link, and even below there will be a link as well, just on where you can book a call, 15-20 minute call, and I look forward to speaking to you on that call as well. In the meantime, I'd say go through this. If you are running ads, if you're looking to run ads, just understand the process around it. But I appreciate you for watching the video anyway, and I hope to see you in the next one. Speak soon.